Good morning, America. Deadly storm. 110 million Americans under alert. Flash flooding in Kentucky. A man killed, swept away in the fast-moving current. Cars submerged with water rescues overnight. Residents trapped in their homes. To the north, more snow. Dangerous driving on the slick roads. What's in store for the week ahead?
Critical peace talks. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrives in Israel for a meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu, hoping to move the ceasefire agreement to phase 2. The reunions for the newly released hostages and hopes for the others still being held.
Federal pink slips. Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency reportedly set to target the IRS, slashing thousands of new jobs in the middle of tax season. Could it affect filings?
Message from behind bars. Luigi Mangioni's first comment since being accused of gunning down the CEO of United Healthcare. The hefty sum raised for his legal defense ahead of his date in court this week.
Bird flu spreads. What to know about the outbreak and any risks to your health. Plus, the impact on your wallet as egg prices soar.
And Sports Sunday, the powerhouse matchups in women's basketball. UConn and South Carolina go head-to-head, along with LSU and Texas. The slam dunking at NBA All-Star Weekend. And revving up for today's Daytona 500, the race to see who has the most drive.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
And good morning, America. So great to have you with us on this Sunday. Gio's got his whole day planned out.
All the things. We got NASCAR even.
You got
revving up. You heard how I said that?
Exactly.
Rev.
You know it. You know. We got a lot of news to cover today. It's great to have everybody with us. But in the wake of the latest hostage and prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Israel for critical talks about the future of the Middle East.
And more cases of the bird flu reported. What to know about any risk to your health, as you're likely already feeling the impacts on your wallet with egg prices soaring, and not just at home. Now some restaurants turning to putting surcharges on your bill.
Yeah, we're really going to dig into that. But first here, that major winter storm is sweeping across the country, bringing snow, ice, and flooding rain. 110 million Americans in its path. Samara is standing by with the forecast here. But let's start with the power outages. 300,000 customers without power in the south, and some rare catastrophic flash flooding emergencies. ABC's Faith Abube leads us off now. Good morning, Faith.
Yeah, good morning to you, Gio. Violent winds made for a terrifying night, from severe thunderstorms to tornado warnings. The powerful storm system knocking down trees and power lines across multiple states, including right here in Florence, Mississippi, where you can see the powerful wind gusts knock down this tree, crashing into this house. Overnight, a massive and deadly storm system slamming through the east with floods, snow, and ice. More than 110 million Americans under alert. Dangerous flash flooding in Kentucky. Drone footage in London showing homes left surrounded by water after 3 inches of rain forced the Little Laurel River over its banks. One man died after he was swept away by the fast-moving current in Clay County. Louisville Metro Police Department performing water rescues after floodwaters left drivers stranded in their submerged vehicles. In West Virginia, the fast-rising water leaving residents trapped in their homes, as much as 4 inches falling in parts of the state. The high floodwaters submerging streets in Welch. The town left under feet of water, travel impossible. In Virginia, heavy rain washing out roads. Homes left underwater after the storm brought up to 4 inches in parts of the state so far.
We have deployed Virginia National Air Guardsmen and soldiers.
In Tennessee, the powerful storm knocking down trees, roofs torn off homes. Farther north in Pennsylvania, the precipitation changing to snow.
It was bad. It was slick. I was going as slow as I could on the back roads, but I was just trying not to spin off the road.
Meanwhile, an idyllic winter scene in New York City. Half an inch of snow falling in Central Park before turning to rain. And with the tornado threat continues to move east this morning, where there are still tornado watches and warnings, hundreds of thousands of people across the South waking up in the dark, including right here in Mississippi. Whit.
All right. Thank you so much, Faith Abube. And that dangerous winter weather stretches across much of the country, as we noted there, from flooding to possible tornadoes. Let's get right to meteorologist Somara Theodore with what we can expect. Good morning.
Good morning, Whit. In fact, there was a tornado warning in place right now as we speak for parts of Georgia. Before we get to that, take a look at this imagery from Roswell, Georgia. A tree crashing into the roof, decimating the deck there, and this vantage point showing you the trees outside through the ceiling. Wind gusts have reached up to 71 miles per hour in parts of Atlanta, Georgia. This is where the tornado warning currently exists, headed east towards Vidalia, Georgia. Tornado watch stretching from Macon, Georgia, down to Albany through 10 a.m. Take a look at the northern tier of this system. We have flooding. Dangerous flooding. 95% of Kentucky right now is under some type of flood warning, and even more critical in West Virginia, we've already experienced evacuations as we have rare and catastrophic flooding currently occurring. Janae?
All right, Samara, thank you. We turn overseas now as Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Israel speaking on a number of issues with Iran top of mind. This as the region waits to see what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's next move will be. ABC's Marcus Moore joins us now live from Tel Aviv. Good morning, Marcus.
Hi, Janae. Good morning. This is Secretary Rubio's very first trip to the Middle East as the Secretary of State. And just moments ago, Prime Minister Netanyahu thanked the Secretary for U.S. support of their strategy and vision in Gaza, including, he said, how the gates of hell will open if all of their hostages are not brought back home. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arriving in Tel Aviv overnight ahead of a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. His visit coming as pressure mounts on Israel and Hamas to move the ceasefire agreement to phase 2. President Trump weighing in after setting a deadline earlier in the week for all of the hostages to be handed over by noon on Saturday, writing on his social media platform that it's up to Israel to decide what to do about the deadline and that the U.S. will back whatever decision they make. This morning, 3 hostages are waking up reunited with their families after being released on Saturday morning in a hostage prisoner swap in Khan Yunis. Among them, 36-year-old Sagid Dekel-Hin, who embraced his wife and learned the name of their third daughter, born while Hamas held him hostage. There were many heartfelt reunions broadcast for the world to see, families gathering around a screen in Hostage Square in Tel Aviv. This is the moment that they had been praying for. After 497 agonizing days, those 3 hostages are now back. They are safe, soon to be reunited with their families. Those emotions quickly shifting to concern for the remaining 70 hostages, including Vicky Cohen's 20-year-old son, Nimrod.
This is our mission, to bring them all back home.
Families are imploring Prime Minister Netanyahu to move into phase 2 of the ceasefire, which would bring all of the hostages home. While in Gaza and the West Bank, more reunions. Over 300 Palestinian prisoners were released in return for those 3 hostages. 21-year-old Adel Sobo, who says he lost his leg in captivity, cried as he saw Gaza for the first time since his release and people living there, saying in prison he was told his homeland was over. And this next week could be pivotal as negotiators are expected to meet once again in Doha to discuss moving to phase 2 in the ceasefire. Also, Arab leaders are working on an alternative to President Trump's plan that calls for Palestinians to be moved out of Gaza as a reconstruction would happen. They would, under this plan, go to neighboring Jordan and Egypt. But this is a plan, Gio, that is being widely criticized.
All right, Marcus, thank you so much for reporting there in Tel Aviv. Back here at home with President Trump and Elon Musk's efforts to cut the federal workforce. Tens of thousands of federal workers have already lost their jobs, and now the IRS may be in the crosshairs right in the middle of tax season. ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang is right here following all the changes. Good morning, Selena.
Hey, good morning, Gio. We're learning that the IRS is preparing to fire potentially 15,000 workers in the middle of tax season. Sources tell us that these cuts could come as early as next week. Now, the impact, guys, is unclear since sources say these employees don't work directly on processing tax filings, but so much of the agency's work is connected to that central mission. So this is all part of President Trump and Elon Musk's effort to dramatically slash the size of the government. They're laying off tens of thousands of federal workers across the country, from the Department of Energy to Homeland Security to Veterans Affairs and Health and Human Services. One veteran tells us he feels betrayed after being fired just 2 years from retirement. And critical workers are being fired from the CDC. Health experts say this could harm the government's ability to respond to the ongoing bird flu outbreak. And Elon Elon Musk is also sparking concerns within the intelligence community. Doge recently posted details on its website about the headcount and budget for an intelligence agency that designs and maintains U.S. satellites. Sources tell us that this could be a major security breach. Whit.
All right, Selena Wang, thank you. For more on all of this, let's bring in ABC's Chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl, who will be hosting This Week later on this morning. John, good morning. Always great to have you. So let's start here at home, and Doge making its way through the government. Thousands of federal workers, as we noted there, being fired. President Trump insists he's fulfilling a campaign promise. But how deep are these cuts likely to go?
Look, both Elon Musk and Donald Trump have made it clear this is just the beginning. I think there will be further deep cuts. We're seeing most recently this week things like the Department of Veterans Affairs, the FAA. Significant cuts that you would have thought in agencies that would be hard to make cuts. But they're making it clear that they are talking about a serious downsizing of the federal government. Whit, I think the answer to your question about how far they will go will largely be determined by the courts. Will the courts ultimately end up blocking any of these efforts to dismantle entire federal agencies?
Well, we will stand by for more news on that. In the meantime, plenty of international headlines as well, John. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Israel amid uncertainty over that ceasefire. President Trump's phone call with Vladimir Putin, the future of Ukraine, all of it a major part of this administration right now and what they're discussing. Are we seeing a dramatic shift in American foreign policy now?
Oh, we sure are. I mean, just look at what we saw this week with the Vice President, J.D. Vance, going to Munich to that Security Council, which is where over the last 3 years we have seen U.S. officials go to stand for Ukraine, to insist that the Western world, led by the United States, would defend Ukraine against Russian aggression. Vance gave a major speech there. He did not even mention the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and he said that the biggest threat to stability in the region is not Russia, it's not China, it's actually European governments who are sidelining right-wing movements in their countries. So a dramatic change, and this meeting that we're going to see next week in Saudi Arabia, the beginning perhaps of a peace process, it includes the Americans, it includes the Russians, it's hosted by the Saudis, but Whit, no inclusion from anybody from the Ukraine side.
Yeah, we heard Zelensky not too thrilled about that part of it either. Yeah. John Karl for us, as always. We appreciate it. And stay tuned to This Week. John speaks with Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin to discuss President Trump's push to end the war in Ukraine and how Trump's allies are reshaping the federal government. Plus, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries on how Democrats are pushing back. Janae?
All right, now to the case that made national headlines. Luigi Mangione, the accused killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, is speaking out from behind bars with a message for his supporters ahead of his next court appearance this week. ABC's Morgan Norwood is here with that. Morgan, good morning. Lots of people curious to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, good morning to you, Janae. Luigi Mangione has been the subject of growing internet fanfare, right? But now he's launched a website from behind bars with a personal message thanking his supporters. But with the death penalty potentially on the table in one of his cases, there are questions this morning as to whether this would actually work in his favor in court.
This morning, accused killer Luigi Mangione in his own words. The 26-year-old speaking out for the first time from jail 2 months after United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down outside a Manhattan hotel. On a website created by his defense team, Mangione thanking his supporters, writing, "I am overwhelmed by and grateful for everyone who has written me to share their stories and express their support, and I look forward to hearing more in the future." It comes as lawyers for Mangione confirmed that he accepted $300,000 for his legal defense fund as he awaits trial at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
That's a lot of money that can go a long way and hopefully, at least for Luigi, develop a robust defense in this case.
Mangione was arrested in early December, some 300 miles from the Manhattan murder scene. Spotted at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, following a stop at a Greyhound bus depot. Police say someone recognized him from surveillance photos and an employee called 911.
We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide.
He was extradited to New York to face 11 charges, one of which could carry the death penalty. His legal team has now added a court-appointed death penalty expert. And now, experts say the attention surrounding his case could actually help his defense.
I think it gives the defense the ability to really gauge the public perception of Luigi Mangione. Ultimately, this could help the defense understand what potential jurors are thinking when it comes to what they're going to decide is Luigi Mangione's fate.
And we know Mangione is due back in a New York City courtroom this Friday. He has pleaded not guilty in that case, guys.
All right, Morgan, thank you so much for that. Also this morning, Wyoming is reporting the state's first human bird flu infection. The woman is the third confirmed case in the U.S. to be hospitalized and likely was exposed through direct contact with infected poultry at her home. So with everyone talking about the bird flu, we wanted to dig a little deeper here. So let's bring in ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darien Sutton and ABC's Alexis Christoforous on how this all affects your food bills. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for being here. So Dr. Darien, let's start with you because there have been at least 68 confirmed cases of human bird flu, right? What should we know about this?
Just to bring everyone up to the same level, because many don't understand the gravity of this. So avian influenza is a cousin of the typical flu that we see every year, the flu that's crowding out hospitals right now. The difference is that avian influenza is infecting animals, and right now it's very good at it. Many health experts are calling this a global pandemic of animals. It affects 100 different species of birds and a range of mammals, including, of course, our food sources, which include dairy cattle, as well as millions of chickens that have been culled or euthanized, which are one of the reasons why we're seeing this rise in prices. Now, a key note here that translates from what we're seeing to our individual risk is that there's been no sign of human-to-human transmission, no sign of this being contagious, which is that factor that leads to outbreaks. Now, that is something we're closely watching, and that's why we don't have to be frightened, but we must remain aware and cautious.
So picking up on that point, as you pointed out, because most of these cases have been direct contact, humans to animals, but what should the general population be aware of? What precautions should we be taking?
I think knowing who's highest at risk, those who are directly into contact, those who have home flocks, you want to make sure that you're increasing your PPE, your protective equipment. And then for us at home, practicing good food safety is how we mitigate our risks, making sure that our chicken is above 160 degrees Fahrenheit, our meat is above 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and remembering that eggs are sterilized, so the safety is there. You don't have to be worried, but again, food safety is really important.
Okay, so that's trying to stave off the impacts to your health, but it is already impacting our wallets. Alexis, the price that we're paying for a carton of eggs has skyrocketed, and it's not just at the grocery that people are feeling this.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to find eggs at your grocery store, we're getting sticker shock. All this ongoing outbreak is now causing a big supply shortage. It's pushed the price of eggs to a record high. The price of eggs up 53% in just the past year. Wow. The average is now $4.95 for a dozen eggs. But some people are paying much more than that. Could be $10 or $12. We also know Easter's just a few weeks away, so demand's going to rise there, and they're expecting egg prices to rise another 20% by the end of this year.
Mike, it makes you want to get your own chickens for all of this.
And some people are doing that.
And some people are doing that, but there are also these egg alternatives, and people are getting really creative.
They are. Now, we've seen some restaurants charge surcharges like Waffle House per egg. Others are looking for these eggs alternatives. I spoke with the company founder of Just Eggs. They're a vegan-based, plant-based company, and they're saying the sales are through the roof, up 5 times in January versus a year ago, and now they're ramping up production.
Wow. I really did see somewhere that they are renting chickens. So
are they really?
Yeah, so it's possible.
Well, I'm going to keep mine in Gio's apartment, so we'll be good to go. Thank you so much, Alexis, Dr. Darien, as always. We appreciate it.
Now to the race NASCAR fans have been waiting for. The start of the Daytona 500 is just hours away, and with that, the kickoff to the racing season. Reporter Gio Diaz from our Orlando affiliate, WFTV, which happens to be my old stomping ground, Gio, joins us now live from the Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Good morning to you, Gio, and welcome to GMA.
Thank you so much. We actually miss you here, Janae. Good morning, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here. Yeah, this event here has been sold out for more than a week, and it's been a sold-out event for the past 10 years. Fans from all over the world are coming down here to Daytona Beach today for the Daytona 500. They will be watching the stock cars hit the tracks here, going almost at 200 miles per hour. The whole path is about 500 miles long. It's NASCAR's largest race, as you mentioned there, Janae. And this year, President Donald Trump is actually expected to attend here the event. He's set to arrive here in Daytona Beach around 12:45 this afternoon, and because of that, the FAA has placed a temporary flight restriction here to this area, similar to what we saw during the Super Bowl in New Orleans. And we also have seen here throughout the morning a large police presence here, multiple law enforcement agencies here, the Secret Service also here earlier today. We actually spoke with them. They're all joining the effort here. And now, as far as drivers go this morning, we are watching for William Byron. He is one of the favorites this year. He is competing for the Hendricks Motors. He was actually the Daytona 500 winner from last year, and he is trying to win the race once again this time around. And now the race kicks off in just a few hours, 1:30 this afternoon. That's actually 1 hour earlier than they had scheduled initially because of the weather. I mean, it is Florida, so we're expecting some thunderstorms later today. Guys, back to you in New York.
Hey, Gio, it's the other Gio. You did our name proud, so thank you very much. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, still ahead here. The stars are out tonight at the London BAFTAs. Will they predict the winners at the Oscars?
Plus, what you should be shopping for this President's Day weekend, the can't-miss deals and some incredible bargains.
And the White Lotus is back. Stick around on GMA.
Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
Welcome back to GMA on this Sunday morning. Captain America: Brave New World soaring to an estimated $27 million at the box office on Saturday. The Marvel Studios movie is on course to collect $90 million plus over the long President's Day weekend. Ooh. A lot of people excited to see that one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Looks so good. All right, let's take a look at some of the other big stories that we're following here on this Sunday morning. Happening right now, measles, a disease once eliminated in the U.S., is spreading rapidly through rural West Texas. 48 cases reported so far, mostly in children and teens. 13 people hospitalized. Health officials say that some of the cases appear to be linked to private religious schools.
And top-ranked men's tennis player Jannik Sinner has been banned from the sport for 3 months. This after he twice tested positive for a banned substance last year. Sinner claimed that it was the result of accidental contamination. The World Anti-Doping Agency had pushed for a year-long suspension, but Sinner accepted the shorter ban in a settlement that allows him to play in the French Open in May.
And the U.S. beat Canada 3-1 in a fiery four-nations face-off game last night in one of hockey's great rivalries. Yeah.
That was like Janae and I in hometown trivia right there.
Just a few minutes ago, yeah. The first 9 seconds of play saw no less than 3 fights, including 2 from the 2 brothers that we talked to yesterday, Brady and Matthew Tkachuk. Yeah. Ultimately, Team USA's 3 goals were enough to clinch a spot at Thursday's tournament final in Boston. So hats off to Team USA. And we start this half hour with the marquee doubleheader of women's college basketball this afternoon here on ABC. And here to talk about the games is ESPN basketball analyst Andrea Carter. Welcome back. It's been about a year since we were talking all of this women's basketball, and we're excited to have you back. Let's talk about the first game, 2 perennial powerhouses, UConn and South Carolina. Who are the players to keep an eye on today?
Well, it's always great to be back with you all, especially talking women's hoops. There are so many superstars in this matchup, as expected with UConn, South Carolina. Starting with UConn, 3 players to watch. Paige Beckers, she is almost guaranteed to be the #1 overall pick in the WNBA draft. Azzi Fudd is a sharp shooter for the UConn Huskies, back after missing some time this season with an injury. And Sarah Strong is a phenomenal freshman. She can do everything with the ball in her hand. She's got great size. She can score inside and out. Those are the 3 for the Huskies. With South Carolina, what's so interesting is it's not their starters that hurt you as much. It is their bench. They get 42 points from their bench. They have so much depth. They also have a superstar freshman in Joyce Edwards. She leads the team in scoring as a freshman off the bench. But also watch out for Mylasia Fulwiley, who is so fun and so crafty, and one of my favorites, Tessa Johnson, who comes in and knocks down shots.
And Andrea, it's not just the players, right? Because there are 2 legendary coaches we need to be watching as well.
It's incredible just being able to watch Dawn Staley and Gino Auriemma go at it. These are 2 coaches that are so different, right? They couldn't be more different in terms of style, in terms of how they present themselves, in terms of how they handle the media. They are just so fun in their own way. I think with Dawn Staley and Gino Auriemma, both living legends, both very authentic and true to themselves, and both incredible coaches. We always say basketball is a game of chess, not checkers. So watching these 2 incredible coaches that have won on the Olympic level. They have won at the college level. They have their national championship winning head coaches that have achieved so much greatness. So watching them put the pieces out there on the floor and counter each other with their moves is always fun for me.
So let's dig into those pieces a little bit more, because UConn, they used to dominate this rivalry, but now they've lost 4 games. They're ranked 7th. South Carolina's ranked 4th. Can UConn break that losing streak?
They can, because I would never doubt a Connecticut Huskies team. Again, we talked about Gino Ramian. We talked about Paige Beckers. UConn is going to have to knock down shots on the perimeter if they want to win. The difficult part is South Carolina has won 71 straight games at home. Colonial Life Arena gets so loud, you can barely hear yourself think playing in this arena. So knocking down shots, getting rebounds, taking care of the basketball, and handling this crowd, all of those things are what UConn is going to have to overcome if they want to end not only their 4-game losing streak to South Carolina, but South Carolina's 71-game home winning streak is also against them.
Oh, my goodness. And we mentioned it's a doubleheader, so let's talk about the second game. Number 5 LSU visiting 4th-ranked Texas. Tell us about this matchup and which players to keep an eye on.
Again, so many players, so many great players. I can't say this enough, but for Texas, Madison Booker has been phenomenal. She was great as a freshman. She is now a superstar sophomore. And Texas lost to South Carolina. It was about 9 games ago. And since that loss, Madison Booker struggled. It was here in this arena. Since that loss, she has averaged 20 points per game and has led the Texas Longhorns to a 9-game win streak in the SEC. That's not an easy thing to do. Kyla Oldacre and Taylor Jones are also 2 names to know for Texas. They rebound the ball. They're this duo on the inside that is so hard to match. For LSU, they've got superstars of their own. They're led by Flau'jae Johnson. Her nickname is Big Bo, if you didn't know. She's also a rapper. She is incredible. She's so much fun to watch. She just plays with this energy and this joy and this speed on the defensive end. She's so skilled on the offensive end. Her 2 running mates, Anissa Morrow, who is a double-double machine. You know how we talked about Angel Reese all last season? Anissa Morrow, same relentless energy on the glass.
Real quick. We're almost out of time. Who's that last one to keep an eye on?
Last one is Michaela Williams. So 3 for Texas, 3 for LSU. Michaela Williams is a bucket.
All right, big games to watch. Andrea, we appreciate you for being with us. And you at home can watch Game Day with Elle Duncan, Andrea Carter, and Chiney Ogwumike right here on ABC at noon Eastern. And UConn versus South Carolina coming up at 1 p.m.
I love that. Great to have Andrea back in the mix, too.
Yes.
All right, now to Hollywood's awards season already underway, and people wondering what tonight's awards across the pond could mean for those big Oscars dreams. ABC's Rena Roy is here with the latest on that. Rena, good morning.
Hey, Wick, good morning to you. That's right. All eyes will be on the BAFTAs tonight. And the big question, could this award show predict what we see at the Oscars in just a couple of weeks? Well, the jury is still out on that one. Last year, the BAFTAs were a solid indicator, picking eventual Oscar winners in the top 8 categories. Other years, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. There are a few biggies to watch. The Brutalist is nominated for 9 BAFTA awards, many expecting Adrian Brody to take home the Best Actor award for portraying a Holocaust survivor who hopes to achieve the American dream. Demi Moore has already won a Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Award for her role in The Substance. She's up against Honora's Mikey Madison, a rising star in a breakout role. Honora's win for Best Picture at the Critics' Choice Awards definitely shaking up the Oscar race. Conclave leads the BAFTAs with 12 nominations, and the musical dramedy Emilia Perez also in contention for 11, including Best Supporting Actress nominee Zoe Saldana. So lots to look forward to with so many films going head-to-head in the Best Film category. Personally, I'm hoping to see Demi do well again. I think she more than deserves all of her flowers.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, definitely. And Oscars just a couple weeks away. Thank you, Rena. And you can watch the Oscars. That's Sunday, March 2nd at 7 p.m. right here on ABC. I'll be on the red carpet leading up to that.
With your bow tie.
Looking dapper as ever.
Getting it all together. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be there live Saturday and Sunday morning with everything you need to know right here on GMA.
does that mean? You're working out to get into your tux?
No, you got to fit in there,
yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly.
You got it.
I wish I had a stretchy tux. That's actually that'd be a good idea.
We're looking at the bargain hunting that you can do this President's Day weekend. You know Alexis found deals on everything from tech to cars to vacations. Tell us about it, because let's start with tech. What did you find there?
You might not think tech when you think President's Day weekend, but there are lots of deals to be had, guys. So if you missed out on scoring a new TV for the Super Bowl, this may just be your weekend. Best Buy has TV starting, get this, as low as $64. But if size is what you're after, we found it. Samsung, this 55-inch QLED TV, $600 off. Now it's just $900. Now, when it comes to smaller tech, Amazon has Beats wireless headphones, 50% off there. Wow. Now just $99, right? Nice deal. And if you're in the market for a laptop, Walmart has this HP 15-inch. It's a touchscreen, usually retails for $1,000, now under $340. Be careful, though. It's only good if you buy online, so be sure you know if it's online or in store.
Smart. Okay.
All right, let's talk about car prices, okay, because we know they're through the roof. Automakers now offering generous financing deals to move last year's models off the lot. We found the 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid, so this is a plug-in, 0% financing for 6 years. Other automakers offering 0% financing on some models this weekend include Ford, Lexus, and Subaru. And if you're leasing, we know that's a popular option for folks. You can drive a new Honda Civic for under $300 a month for 3 years. You do have to put down about $3,900, though, at signing. We're in the middle of winter, but let's talk warm destinations.
Yes,
right? I knew you'd like it. Since President's Day weekend falls during what's called wave season, this is the perfect time to go out and book yourself a cruise this year. So Princess Cruises has 40% off select sailings to the Caribbean, Mexico, and Alaska. Now, that includes a free room upgrade, and your third and fourth guests sail for free.
That means children.
There you go, for a family. Norwegian, 50% off all cruises, plus kids sail for free, and you get airfare for a second guest included.
There you go. And the dollar dance is included,
And the
too.
dollar dance is
on the deck at the Bon Voyage party.
We tried.
Thank you so much. All right, coming up here on Good Morning America, the memorable music of the White Lotus and other TV show theme songs that we just can't get out of your head. You hear that? You want to do it? You want to do it? No, you don't? Okay. Back now on GMA, that galvanizing theme song that you're hearing right now from the White Lotus. It's as unforgettable as the show's characters, and ABC's Will Gans has more on theme songs that we just can't get these out of our heads.
That's right. Well, series creator Mike White has said that this season of The White Lotus will be longer, bigger, and crazier than the ones before it. But for so many fans, nothing builds hype for a brand new episode of the Emmy-winning series more than that opening theme song, which is exactly what it was written to do.
At the end of the week, you will be an entirely different person.
The White Lotus is back for another scrumptious season. Maybe no Jennifer Coolidge, but that brain-scratching theme song returns for season 3. And fans just can't get enough.
White Lotus has a very specific theme of mystery mixed in with comedy, mixed in with drama. The composer worked very closely with the creator, Mike White, on creating that tone from the moment you hit play.
It's in line with the current trend of prestige television ditching themes with lyrics in favor of an ambient sound that immerses audiences in the world of the show. From Game of Thrones to Only Murders in the Building.
It allows people to really get into that mood. But over the years, it's changed a lot because it used to be about retelling the story of what to expect.
Classic TV shows use their theme songs to remind newbies of the premise of the show, like Gilligan's Island.
5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour.
And The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down.
But on Rolling Stone's list of the best TV themes of all time, it's all about those feel-good anthems from Cheers.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
To Friends. To its #1 best TV theme of all time.
We're moving on up to the east side.
The Jeffersons.
Deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up
So this season of The White Lotus, the opening sequence features monkeys and other Thailand imagery, and the composer told Variety that he did a TikTok deep dive to hear the types of sounds people are listening to, so expect that.
Wow.
So cool. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. Have a great week.
See ya.